Part 1. The town that wasn't on any map entry from Travel Vlog. 43. Appalachian Backroads. April 9th, 11:18. AMI was supposed to be in Charleston by noon. I'd left Asheville at sunrise, hoping to grab some creepy backroad footage for a bonus upload. Abandoned houses, rusted gas stations, you know the vibe. Just the usual Ghost America aesthetic my subs eat up. But somewhere near the Kentucky-West Virginia border, I took a wrong turn. Not a metaphorical one. I literally took a left instead of a right, trying to avoid a fallen tree. No big deal, right? Except I couldn't find the highway again. The GPS froze first. I didn't panic. I had offline maps and most back roads are spotty. But then my compass app spun in circles. The trees started to feel too symmetrical, like they were copied and pasted across the hills. No cell service, no towns on the map. And then, like something out of a dream or a memory I'd never made, I saw a sign half swallowed by vines. Welcome to Whitlow, a quiet place to call home. The sign creaked as I passed it. The letters had faded to a gray-white. The edges of the wood were blackened with rot. It looked like it hadn't been touched in decades, but the road behind it was freshly paved. Whitlow didn't appear on any map, physical or digital. I checked twice. Hell, I even Googled the name later out of morbid curiosity. Nothing. No census, no history, no ghost town list. And yet it was real. The town opened up like a movie set from the 1950s. Cobblestone sidewalks, cast iron lamps, shops with hand-painted signs, a bakery, a barber shop, an old-school movie theater with a marquee that read, "Tonight only, the midnight guest." I pulled into a diagonal parking space and cut the engine. That's when I noticed something odd. The people walking the sidewalks, they weren't staring at phones. No one was in a rush, no modern cars, no traffic, just eerie quiet and soft smiles. One man tipped his hat as he passed. Tipped his hat. I forced a laugh, thinking maybe this was some kind of reenactment town or historical park. But the weirdness didn't stop there. I walked into the diner, Mildred's Spoon, drawn by the smell of warm bread and coffee. It was charming, like a slice of Americana preserved in amber. Booths with red vinyl, a chalkboard menu, waitresses in pale blue uniforms. A woman named Betty greeted me like she knew me. "You made it," she said with a wink. "Room at the Silver Bells already." "What?" I asked. "I didn't book anything." She tapped her notepad with a chewed-up pencil. "May said you'd be stopping by. Best get settled before dark." I should have left right then. But something about the place, it felt safe. Like I was wrapped in a warm flannel blanket and told everything was going to be okay. And I was tired. I'd been driving for 8 hours. I told myself I'd just spend the night, maybe get some B-roll for a creepy accidental town story, then leave at sunrise. God, I was so stupid. Silver Bell Inn. Check-in, April 9th, 4:02 p.m. The Silver Bell Inn was 2 blocks from the diner. Big white colonial house with wraparound porch, ivy crawling up the pillars. A wooden wind chime hung from the overhang, clinking gently with no breeze. May answered the door before I knocked. "You're earlier this time," she said, not surprised at all. "Room's upstairs, fresh towels. I'll leave a sandwich in. The fridge for later." "This time?" I asked. She blinked. You said I'm earlier this time," May smiled. "Did I?" Then she turned and walked inside like nothing happened. Room Dargra 4, Guest Journal. Entry April 9th, 6:34 p.m. There's a guest journal on the nightstand. Real old school, leather-bound, smells like cedar and mold. People left notes in it, some as recent as last week. But I noticed something strange. The handwriting in several entries looks identical, even though they're signed with different names and dates. A few of the messages were unsettling. "If you hear the bell, stay inside. Don't believe the mirrors. Whatever you do, don't follow the voices into the basement." I flipped to the very last page. Someone had scribbled in frantic handwriting, using nearly the whole page. "I've been here 7 times. Every time I leave, I wake up back here. The town won't let me go. May knows. The tunnels go deeper than you think. The name was smudged out, burned through. The first chime, April 9th, 11:59 p.m. I was lying in bed reviewing footage from the diner when the bell rang. It wasn't church-like or gentle. It was deep, metallic, bone-shaking. Chime, chime, chime. 12 times. Loud enough to make the window glass tremble. Then silence. I looked out the window. The streetlights were off. Houses, dark. No cars, no people. Just stillness. I stepped outside. The air felt thicker, like I was moving through water. Even my breath came slower. Across the street, I saw the door to the general store hanging open. I called out, nothing. I walked over and peeked inside. Half-finished meals still on the counter. A radio playing faint swing music. An apron on. The floor. Everyone was gone. I checked the diner. Plates on tables, coffee cups still steaming. No people. Back at the inn, May's room was empty. Not empty like she stepped out. Empty like she'd never existed. Furniture covered in sheets. Dust on the bed. And yet, I heard footsteps upstairs. Not mine. Final clip. Footage from 12:38 a.m. If you're watching this, I don't know how much longer I have. It's past midnight in Whitlow. There are no people here. No signs of struggle. They just vanished. But I hear things now. In the walls. In the mirrors. I think the town is watching me. I think it's waiting. If I don't make it out, tell someone. This place exists. I didn't imagine it. You've always been here. Part 2. The roads that lead back to Whitlow. April 10th, 7:45 a.m. Camera. Shakes slightly. A shaky breath. Voice low and tight with panic. Morning now. Sun's up. I've packed everything. Leaving Whitlow. Last night, I saw things. I don't think I was supposed to. I just need to get out. I'll upload this when I find signal. Escape attempt. First try, I left the Silver Bell Inn without breakfast. May was nowhere in sight. The whole town was too quiet. Not small town Sunday quiet. Not even after the storm quiet. Vacuum silence. I drove east. GPS dead. No. Road signs. I didn't care. I just floored it. After 20 minutes of nothing but trees, I passed a familiar barn. I'd seen it before. The broken silo. The wheelbarrow tipped over in the same exact way. I passed it again 5 minutes later, and then again. I turned left at a gravel path and found myself back on the main street of Whitlow as if I'd never left. Escape attempt. Try number 2, number 3. 4 I tried the northern route next. Dirt road. Nearly flipped the van avoiding a deer that didn't move even as I approached. It just stared. Dead eyes. Like it had seen me before. Then the road ended in a fog-covered lake. It wasn't on any map. I threw a rock into it and never heard it land. I reversed and took the west trail and found myself pulling up to Mildred's diner again. The same. Marquee sign still read, "Tonight only, the midnight guest." The sun was starting to dip. That's when I realized. The town was folding time around me. The man in the mirror back inside the B&B, I splashed water on my face. I stared at myself in the mirror. Then I blinked, and in that split second my reflection didn't blink. It smiled. A slow, curling grin. I stumbled back. The reflection stayed, still. Then lifted its hand and tapped the glass from the other side. I screamed. Smashed the mirror with my camera. Behind the glass there was nothing, just a hollow cavity. Inside it, a folded note. "You won't leave unless you understand. You've been here before. Dig under the inn." The forgotten guest book, I dug deeper into the guest journal. The handwriting on the older pages was frantic, looping, but increasingly familiar. One page stopped me cold. April 10th, entry 5. He came back again. Still thinks he's here for the first time. Doesn't remember last spring, or last fall, or the time before that. I tried to warn him, but the town won't let me. I think I used to be him. It was signed with my full name. My name. The trapdoor beneath the inn I found the basement door behind a pantry shelf. The stairs groaned like they hadn't been used in decades. At the bottom, there was a dirt floor and 2 hallways carved into stone. One led left, deeper underground. The other was bricked shut except someone had scratched into the mortar. May is not who she says she is. I took the left tunnel, filming everything. My flashlight flickered even with new batteries. Found doors, dozens, old, rusted. Behind them, cots, scattered clothes, personal belongings, a cracked laptop, a camera like mine, a child's drawing. Each door had a name scratched into the wood. All of them were different, except one. Mine. Tape recorder log, found in room. April 10, if you're hearing this, you found the tunnels. My name is Derek Hall. I run a YouTube channel called American Strange. I've been here 4 times now. The first time I stayed a night. The second time, I tried to warn others. The third, I never really left. There's something under the town. It feeds off memory, it loops people, wipes them, and restarts them like old VHS tapes. The only way out is to remember what you've forgotten. I dropped the recorder. My hands were shaking. I remembered Derek. We'd done a collab 2 years ago. Urban Legends in Kentucky. He vanished shortly after. People assumed burnout or death. He had found Whitlow before me. The theater that wasn't. There, before when I surfaced, the town had changed. It was darker, not night yet, but the shadows felt wrong. Longer, twitching at the edges. A building I hadn't seen before now stood at the end of the main street. The Grand Whitlow Theater. Its doors were open. I stepped inside. Dust floated in thick air. The curtains were drawn. The projector flickered. A film was already playing. On the screen, me, entering the town, talking to May, eating in the diner, exploring the tunnels. Then footage I hadn't taken yet. Me, sitting in the theater, watching this exact film. Then, me being pulled into screen. I ran. The town loops. I sprinted to my van. The engine turned. The street twisted, and I found myself back at the welcome sign. I'd looped again. Except this time, it didn't say welcome. Now it read, Whitlow, you never left. Final log, April 10th, 11:50 p.m. I have 10 minutes until the bell rings. I've tried every road, every door, every tunnel. They want me to remember something. I think that's the key. There are others like me. I found their names. Some forgot who they were. Some became part of the town. I don't know which I'll be, but if you find this footage, tell someone, don't come looking. Don't stop if you see the sign. And whatever you do, a loud chime, 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. Part 3. The memory that doesn't belong to me, recovered vlog. April 11th, 8:14 a.m. This is day 3. Or maybe day 10. I can't tell anymore. The footage says April 11th, but outside, everything feels like it's just waiting to repeat. I keep finding things I didn't record. There are videos on my hard drive with my face in them, but I don't remember filming any of them. The folder called Whitlow Redo. That morning I reviewed my footage again, but now there were 3 new folders on my laptop. I hadn't created them. One was called Whitlow Redo, another Returned Visitor. The third had no name, just a glitchy icon. I clicked it. Inside were video files, some of them named after me, others after people I've never met, but they looked familiar. Like versions of me from different timelines, different clothes, facial hair, haircuts. One file was labeled Exit Attempt Number 7 Failed. It showed me, drenched in sweat, standing at the edge of a cliff, talking to the camera. I made it out once, briefly, but something pulled me back. I saw myself on a bus heading to Whitlow again. You don't escape, you just reboot. I stopped. The video. My hands weren't shaking, because I already knew what it would say. The letter under my pillow. That night I found a sealed envelope under my pillow. The handwriting on the front was mine. Inside, I know you're reading this again. You always find this letter on the 3rd day. You always doubt it's real, and then the dreams start, but this time listen. You didn't discover Whitlow. You created it. This town is a cage you built, and it will only let you go if you remember why. There was no signature, but I recognized the penmanship. It was mine. Exactly, mine. Return to the tunnels. The deeper path I returned to the basement beneath the inn. The tunnel that had been bricked up, it was now open. Cold air poured out of it. I descended deeper. Walls turned from stone to something older, carved symbols, markings, names etched in strange spirals. My flashlight flickered again, but not from battery loss, from interference, from presence. I entered a large chamber, circular, echoing. In the center, a pedestal with a film reel, one of the old, heavy kinds. Next to it, a projector, already powered on. I turned it on. The footage that wasn't made. Yet the film began. I saw in my childhood home, my first camera, my old cat, my college dorm. Then, an unfamiliar room. Dim, smoky, filled with books and wires. In the center, me, older, disheveled, frantic. "I've done it," he said. "I've digitized memory, made a place where I could isolate what I want to forget, but it worked too well. It became real. Whitlow isn't a town. It's a prison made of the parts of me I wanted to erase, and now it remembers me." I collapsed, bile in my throat. This wasn't a ghost town, it wasn't cursed, it was built from my mind. The thing in the dark behind me, something stirred in the shadows. Slow dragging steps. I ran, but the tunnel warped, twisted. The voices started again, whispers in every direction. "Why did you erase us? Why did you leave? You brought us here. You built this place to forget us." I turned a corner and saw myself. My face, mouth unhinged, eyes leaking black fluid, standing in a mirror. "You keep trying to upload your guilt," it said. "But memory doesn't go away when you hit delete." It stepped forward. Out of the mirror, I ran. Flash of the forgotten memory back. At the inn, I slammed the door and locked it. Then I remembered. The accident, the van, the blood. 3 years ago, I hit a man on a foggy highway, never told anyone, buried the dash cam footage, scrubbed the drive. That night, I dreamed of a small town where no one ever found the body, a place that let me forget. Whitlow. I built this place inside my mind to hide what I did. And somehow, it became real. A looping purgatory made from guilt, buried memories and digital shadows. I didn't come here to explore it. I came here because I never left. April 11th, midnight chime bong. Bong Bongi stood in the street alone, but this time I didn't run. I didn't hide. I walked into the center of town, to the square where the bell tower loomed, where everyone disappears when the clock hits midnight. But no one disappeared this time. Instead, figures emerged from every alley, every building. Dozens of them, all different, but all somehow me. Versions of myself. Some terrified, some crying, some violent, some whispering apologies, and in the center, May. But not May. Her face peeled away like paper. Beneath it, a swirling storm of static, tape, reels, wires, all the broken memories I had tried to bury. She stepped forward. "You wanted to forget. Now, you must live every version you left behind. Final recording unknown." This is, I don't know what version. The voice might not be mine anymore if you're watching this. And you found Whitlow. Don't try to understand it, don't try to fix it. Just remember what you've done. Because if you forget, you'll be the next to stay. We don't disappear at midnight. We reset. Part 4. You were always the first. Visitor opening footage. Unknown date, unknown version camera shakes. Static lines flicker. A man stands in the middle of Whitlow's main street. Dozens of copies of him stand behind him like ghosts. He stares straight into the lens. Blood on his hands. One eye missing. You still think you're just visiting? No. You're the first. You were always the first. Everyone else is just your echo. The truth beneath the bell tower. After the confrontation with May or the thing, wearing her face, the town stopped pretending. No sunlight. No clocks ticking. The air was thick, heavy with static. It felt like standing inside an old television trying to remember its last channel. I walked alone to the bell tower, knowing, somehow, this was where it began. The door at the base creaked open, revealing a staircase made of shattered VHS tapes. Each step played a moment from my life. My mother crying when I dropped out of college. The accident, the silence afterward, the videos I made to distract myself, the thousands of viewers who never knew what I'd done. I climbed anyway. At the top, a chair, a screen and a lever. A sign above it read, "Choose a version to become." The versions. The screen showed 3 versions of me, each one living a life I could have had. One was rich, famous, hosting a ghost hunting show on cable. He smiled wide, but his eyes were dead. Another was old, alone in a cabin, surrounded by notebooks and old photos. He talked to voices no one else could hear. The third was simple, me, happier, still living with guilt, but free. A small apartment, a tiny channel, a cat. Then a fourth option appeared. Delete. The screen flashed. Erase all echoes. End the boop, but you disappear with them. I stood frozen, the voice inside my head. Then I heard her again. May. But softer this time, less monstrous. You created us to survive what you did, to forget. But forgetting isn't healing. It's hiding. If you want peace, you can't pick a version. You have to become whole again. The choice. I sat in the chair, hands on the lever. My echoes stood behind me, watching. The lever had 2 notches. Integrate. Merge all timelines. Remember everything. Delete. Wipe it all. Start over again. The camera kept rolling. My viewers, if this ever made it out, would see the moment I decided. I'm tired of running. No more edits. No more cuts. I want to remember who I really am. I pulled the lever toward integrate. The collapse of Whitlow, the bell, began to chime not 12 times, but infinite. Each sound shattered a layer of the town. The diner crumbled. The inn folded inward. The tunnels flooded with light. Every echo of me screamed, some in pain, some in relief, some in silence. I collapsed to the floor, clutching my head as every version of my life, every forgotten moment, every lie I told myself poured into me at once. And then, silence. Waking up, I opened my eyes. A hospital room, clean, fluorescent lights, steady beeping. A nurse entered, smiled softly. You've been in a coma for 3 years. My mind screamed no, but my mouth said nothing. A woman entered next, familiar but different. Derek? She asked. Do you remember me? It was May, but not the May from Whitlow. She sat at my side and whispered, they said you hit your head after a car crash. You were filming something about a ghost town. She squeezed my hand. You're safe now. But behind her, on the hospital TV, a static flicker, Whitlow. Final recording, epilogue. If you're watching this, I made it out. Or at least, one of me did. Whitlow wasn't haunted, it was the haunting. A place built by guilt, looping over and over until someone dared to feel it all. Don't forget what you've done. Don't bury your worst self in the walls of a fake town, because the town remembers. And it waits for the next one to upload their guilt. A new recording begins. A different hand holds the camera this time. A voice, casual but excited, says, Hey guys, welcome back. Today I found something strange. A town called Whitlow. There's almost nothing about it online, like it never even existed. But I found this old hard drive and a map. I'm going to check it out. The voice smiles, almost too confidently, into the lens. Let's see what I uncover. Static flickers louder. Screen cuts to black. A single word fades in, to be continued. The end, or just the beginning. A Haunted Echoes original.